Good evening. My name is Qi Guoming. My P number is 1200073X. It is my honor to be here giving you this video presentation. The subject of this talk is analyzing the relationship between organizational culture strategy and organizational performance. In this video, I'm going to divide my presentation into three sections. Firstly, what a culture strategy is. Secondly, some reasons for a culture strategy and related to organizational performance. And finally, some methods of establishing a good organizational culture. To begin with, a few important definitions need to be established. One is that organizational culture strategy belongs to the overall human resource strategies. The other is about what is organizational culture. Organizational culture is the collective behavior of humans who are part of an organization and meaning that people attach to their actions. Culture includes organizational values, visions, norms, working language, systems, symbols, beliefs, and habits. It is also the pattern of such collective behaviors and assumptions that are taught to new organizational members as a way of perceiving and even thinking and feeling when they are in the company. So, as you see, any corporation needs organizational culture as a spiritual idea to effectively avoid the market risks and guide its daily operations as well as long-term development. In terms of this perspective, organization culture should be viewed by all managers as being a central component. As market competition intensifies, corporations face not only competition of visible strengths such as capital, technology, and equipment, but also competition about organizational culture. That is a short description of culture strategy. I'd now like to turn to consider if a culture strategy is valuable. And as an answer, I'm sure that the significance of making a good organizational culture is to enhance organizational performance. This perspective can be interpreted in two aspects. One is the cultural influence, and the other is how it works. As regards influence in this slide, organizational culture affects the way stakeholders interact with each other. Stakeholders here refers to employees, customers, and suppliers. Organizational culture trains and changes the employees and suppliers at the beginning. It can be seen in products and services that the enterprise provides, and customers, they also experience the organizational culture from it. And the scope of influence can also spread continually so that potential customers, they get information about a company's organizational culture as well. And as regard how organizational culture works, it has a number of functions. And these are guiding function, motivation function, and the restraining function, which can be helpful for company performance. Firstly, I'll look at guiding function. Organizational culture can be a guide for the value and behavior of each member from the orientation. There are differences between traditional management and culture management. Traditional management simply focus on rigid discipline in systems, while organizational culture concentrates on shaping the thinking to guide the behavior of enterprise members so that people can accept common values. And secondly, I'll look at motivation function. Good organizational culture can form a strong and lasting sense of mission. And positive corporation culture is the driving force for employees. They can motivate themselves and control their own behavior. Meanwhile, it is also a powerful spiritual pillar for all staff, in that having common values, beliefs, and standards of conduct, people can feel a sense of belonging and a sense of security from it. And thirdly, I'll look at restraint. Good organizational culture has a function of restraint for each employee at a psychological level. Corporate culture has already formatted some written or conventional rules and regulations to regulate employees' thinking and behavior. Having looked at the significance of the organizational culture strategy, let's turn now to my last part and investigate the method of establishing a suitable organizational culture. Three methods can be used to create an excellent organizational culture. First of all, fostering a common language is necessary for organizational culture. It contains shared values, common interests, and common missions. In one organization, the descriptions between individuals thinking, giving rise to the questions as communication barriers. In this situation, the lack of a common language can cause a severe consequence. And the distance between two employees is a barrier for creating organizational culture. From my perspective, there are two ways that can foster a common language. One is a culture delivered from a small group to the whole organization. Their informal organizations play important roles. And the other way is to deliver culture from the top level down to other staff. And doing group study. Group study is also helpful for organizational culture because, as you know, it can be seen as communication in groups. Actually, it is a progress making staff have a organizational culture awareness and a culture identity. Last but not least, we should perfect the rules and the regulations and have a clear-cut assignment of responsibility. Systems of rewards is a foundation of culture identity. In addition to this, an organization should consider many other factors when creating organizational culture. There's a man whose name is Cameron. He argued that static culture management is bad for economic growth. Most organizations now seek to change and adapt new culture and leadership style according to their industrial environment. And there's another man whose name is Hosted. He argued that organizational culture will also be affected by geographical region or the national culture. In conclusion, I'd like to say that an organizational culture strategy, which can be regarded as a branch of human resource strategies, can influence a company's performance. A good culture strategy can influence not only employees but also customers by guiding, motivating, and restraining them. My personal idea is that organizational culture strategy is necessary if an organization is to survive and to be competitive in today's fast-moving business environment. A company can achieve this by some methods. For example, as I say, fostering a common language and doing group studying and having a good reward system. Okay, that is the whole content about my presentation. You're welcome to email me if you have any questions about my presentation. And at last, thank you.